America, welcome into the Business Pulse, brought to you by the Freedom Chamber, online at freedomchamber.net, the pro-American business network. It's biscuits and gravy from Cracker Barrel for everybody that's watching today. How's that sound, Rod? How's that sound, Dean? Did we get some lunacy out of the world and we got back to what made America great, right? Its heritage.
Well, I tell you what, in just a week, 1 week, the
Yes.
whole world turns itself inside out and then back again, So I think it probably in net overall, that's a wonderful, wonderful message that America is just sick and tired of the woke garbage. And we saw a big player try to go that way and immediately turn around. And how long did it take Bud Light to turn around? Quite a while. So, yeah, I saw a post everywhere on time to Bud Light Cracker Barrel, and I guess they did too. And first they tried to double down on it, but then they started backtracking really fast, really quick. I think that's a huge positive for America. It talks about our culture, and the culture's changing in a big positive way. We're coming out of some of that darkness.
Absolutely. We've got Dean Owen here from Owen CPA and Rod Martin from the Martin Report. Rod, your thoughts on the lunacy of what Cracker Barrel tried to do with their rebrand? You think they would have learned, right?
Well, yes, you would. Although look who they hired to run the company. Someone who is completely out of touch with their core audience. And my goodness, why would you insult your customers? That makes no sense at all. On a more positive note, they just got billions of dollars in free publicity. So if they will double down on what they have always done, especially if they get the food a little bit better, but I eat there a lot and it's not bad. If they will double down on the good they have done, they're going to have a lot more people coming just out of, the nostalgia that you saw when Coke messed up and introduced new Coke and everybody hated it. And then, when they brought back classic Coke, all of a sudden everybody goes out and buys it. This could be a real opportunity for them if they have the humility to embrace it.
Absolutely. Now, there are some in the marketplace that say it was nothing more than a big ploy to bring the Cracker Barrel name to the forefront. If it was, it's a gutsy ploy, and hopefully it turns out well for them because their stock took a huge hit and it's rebounded a little bit today. And, that's America. They're always willing to forgive. Americans are willing to forgive. Bud Light still kind of on the forgiveness wagon a little bit, but Cracker Barrel definitely had a good rebound and they got their head out of it, what. And you're right. They're right, Rod. It's good food. It's good travel food. You see them at about every exit as you're traveling across the lower 48. And it's good comfort food, and hopefully they do the right thing, and hopefully America gets back in their seat at Cracker Barrel. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is America, and I want to get your thoughts on this, Rod and Dean, owning 10% inside of Intel now. Smart for America? Bad for America? Does it set up more slippery on the slippery slope?
I think that it makes perfect sense from Donald Trump's perspective. It will be good for America because there will be investment upside. The federal government will make money on the deal. If we're going to invest in companies, we should definitely get some upside. I think the structure, however, is very concerning, and I think it sets a precedent that puts us down the wrong path. Federal government should not be mucking around in private companies more than it absolutely has to. And the real problem isn't that we didn't get a return on the CHIPS Act money. The real problem is that there was any CHIPS Act money. What a crazy boondoggle. Very much like Solyndra, very much like the GM bailout. It was all a mistake from the beginning. This is a way to make it better. There's no question. And I appreciate what the president's trying to do, but it's in the wrong direction. We need to not be having federal ownership of private companies. In fact, we need to divest of a lot of what we have.
Yeah, and I think under this situation with this president, I think it's probably smart. He's got some smart things he's trying to do. He's trying to make improvements. Sometimes two wrongs do make a right. And, this may be one of those cases. Now, a big part of that is because I trust this president. And I haven't been able to say that about many presidents in a very long time.
2029.
But like Rod and I have talked about, this president is a businessman. He's not a politician. And most politicians do not understand businessmen. And most on the loony left do not understand businessmen at all. So they think it's crazy and chaos. But Rod had a great article this morning and on his newsletter about capitalism, not chaos, and commerce, not chaos. And just how Donald Trump thinks about the world, sees the world, and deploys economic forces to better the world in ways a lot of other presidents and administrations have used very dark force and physical force to try and change the world. This president does it with economics, and literally talks about trying to save lives and doing that with economic pressures, not bombing people. He's not afraid to bomb someone if he has to. We saw that in Iran. We saw that in his first administration, but that's not his go-to for trying to change the world to make it a better place.
But doesn't it set up I don't want to say a slippery slope is such an overused term, but it makes the slope a lot slipperier when you've got the government meddling inside of a private business and all of a sudden there's a new contract that comes due. Somebody's getting this, somebody's getting that. It's just bad optics all around. Am I right?
Well, with a 10% stake, they don't have control of the company.
Correct.
They don't even have a meaningful vote at a shareholders meeting, really. But at the same time, yeah, I mean, there's no reason 10% couldn't become 20 or 30. There's no reason that some future president couldn't take this in a terrible direction. So, I would have preferred to see us do something like, the government takes a profits interest in the company for some period of time to earn back what we invested in them with a profit. That's all great. I don't really love what is by no means a nationalization, but something that is in that direction. I just think it's a bad idea.
Yeah. And I hope that they have the wisdom to put it into a blind trust or something else where the government or politicians can't go in and tell Intel what to do. If there's some type of mechanism, that would be an improvement that I would feel a little better about, but couldn't agree more. The optics are horrible, but given a bad situation, maybe a negative solution is the right answer. And I think it's improvement.
Okay, go ahead, Rod.
Going back to what you were saying about foreign policy, what the president is doing overseas is just brilliant. We have spent the last 90 years or 80 years just handing people wads of cash and, saying, hey, we'd like you to reform something, which they never do because the cash goes into Switzerland or something. The Chinese are debt trapping all the people they're supposedly aiding. The Europeans are even more muddled than either of those approaches. So what Donald Trump is doing is he is actually going in and negotiating peace deals where peace is tied to profitable enterprises that require cooperation. And he's using the U.S. to do that lead investing that makes it possible. And you see that in the Trump corridor. It's literally called the Trump route. But in Azerbaijan and Armenia, you see it in the Congo-Rwanda deal. You see it to a lesser degree in India, Pakistan, a much greater degree potentially in Russia, Ukraine. And it aligns interests. You're never going to get to peace through platitudes. You're going to get to peace through profit. And that's what the president's doing. That part of this is just brilliant.
Absolutely. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about what happened in Jackson Hole last week with the Jerome Powell speech. A lot of eyeballs were on that, and the stock market went through the roof. I believe Mr. Powell had to eat a little crow because the tariffs really haven't damaged what he thought would be major inflation. But I keep hearing that that's going to trickle down the next 30 months from now. You may start to feel that pinch. Your thoughts on that?
It's just more garbage and more hate and more slander. It's always, oh my God, the crisis I talked about yesterday didn't come about. So now here's the next crisis that's going to come about. And after a little bit, the boy calls wolf enough times, when do you finally realize that you quit paying attention to Chicken Little? And things are going well. He's managed well. Donald Trump is smart enough to know the damage you can do with tariffs, and that if used inappropriately, it will cause economic ruin for a lot of people. He's smart enough to know that. Do people not think he's smart enough to know that? And he's using them as a tool to change a world that's highly at risk of another global conflict, and doing, peace through commerce and not chaos.
Well, and you're exactly right. They think he's not smart enough to know really anything. He just lucked into $10 billion after all. He just kind of stumbled over all those Trump towers and golf courses all over the world. He didn't have anything to do with any of that. And if he did, it was probably stealing. I mean, this is the mindset. And I would expect that from a bunch of socialists in the Democrat Party. I am floored at it when I listen to it coming from Republicans, obviously not mainstream Republicans anymore, but the Never Trump crowd, the rhinos, honestly, a lot of the Bush people who were the leading lights of the party until they just got shunted aside. These people have no respect for what the man's achieved, so they can't imagine that anything he's doing now could possibly be good. But the truth is, we're now 7 months into the global recession we were supposed to have, and oh wait, no recession. Where's the inflation? Where are all these catastrophes? But we could listen to the man and we'd know where he's headed. At the G7 meeting in 2018, he was plain as day. He's like, I'm a Wharton guy. I get it. I understand that the optimal tariffs would be zero on both sides. That's where we want to get. But in the meantime, we need to do some things that are fairer than what we're doing, which is completely lopsided. That's what he's doing with the tariffs. He's opening foreign markets. He is enhancing American industry. And this is all in a direction of constant negotiation. So there's no reason that 10% tariff on the United Kingdom or 15% in the EU can't get better. There's no reason for it at all. If they'll open their markets further, if they will do some things that are positive for us, we will do things that are positive for them. That's the one thing you can always count on with Donald Trump. Nothing is in stone, always, everything's in motion.
Dean, you've got an interesting perspective you'd like to share on how things are all cyclical, it seems like.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of research, and I would encourage everyone else to do the same. Jump on ChatGPT or something like that and look up the controversial actions of President George Washington, President Abraham Lincoln, and President FDR. And what you'll find is that they used the military against insurrections. They took some very difficult positions. They put journalists and political oppositions in jail. They put people in concentration camps. And they did a whole lot of things that are going on. And we've talked about the cycles. So this is the first cycle was the Revolutionary War. The next one was the Civil War. The next one was World War II. And now each one of these is 80 years apart. We're 80 years since World War II. And what we're seeing this president do is very similar actions to what we saw those other very transformative presidents do. And when you look at that in context, you find out all the screaming, liberal, whiny, woke, fear-mongering is nothing more than those who study history are doomed to watch those who did not study history repeat it.
Interesting perspective. So with everything that's going on in the world, with what we're learning, everything coming out, Rod, do you think we're going to have more nothing burgers on our platter, or are things actually going to get taken care of this time?
No, things are really going to happen. And you need to go to rodmartin.org and look up an article we ran a month or so ago called Yes, There Will Be Arrests. There's every reason for conservatives to be dispirited on that point, because the Democrats always get away with literally anything. And, Republicans can jaywalk and go to jail for 90 days. So, I get it, but that's not who Donald Trump is. And you can say, well, they didn't arrest these people in his first term. Yeah, he learned the lesson from it. He spent 4 years in exile, meticulously plotting out every day of a second term, and now they are executing brilliantly, I might add. The last 7 months have been like no 7-month period in the history of the presidency. And, when Dean's talking about precedent, obviously a lot of what FDR did, I consider highly unconstitutional. Some of what Abraham Lincoln did was at least debatable. But George Washington was not debatable. George Washington defined the role. He was also the president of the Constitutional Convention. He knew exactly what the boundaries were and entirely supported them. And yeah, the Washington administration definitely did some things that would make our current pundit class horribly upset, but it did what was within the Constitution. And that's what Trump is doing. They keep coming back at all these things that he's doing that violate norms. while they violate every norm in the world. No, Donald Trump is asserting the power that Article 2 gives him, much of which has been transferred to the deep state over the last 90 years. And he is actually staying within the boundaries of Article 2, which no president has done in that same 90 years. So it's really quite remarkable. It's going to take some getting used to, but it is a really, really important moment in American history. Just as Dean was saying, we are at the end of an 80-year cycle, and Donald Trump seems to be the defining figure of that next cycle to come.
Right. And just for an example, I have it on extremely good authority from someone who is in the position to know for absolute certain that we will see challenges to the auto pen signatures, over 7,500 of them, within weeks. And yes, it will be lawfare, and yes, it will have to go to the Supreme Court, but it's settled law. You cannot sign legislation and executive orders with an auto pen. You can't do that. And this person has an auto pen, and when he sends a letter out to constituents that says happy birthday or something, the auto pen signed it. But when he's signing legislation or subpoenas or whatever, then he has to sign that with his name, his pen, his hand. And he's talking weeks, and I've learned to trust this. I've learned to trust this source very deeply.
Add to that Joe Biden was clearly mentally incompetent. Everybody knew it. Everybody knew it when he ran. It was obvious. You were just told you were a bad person if you noticed. The people around him understood it perfectly, which means he didn't know half of what they were doing in his name. They were forging his signature on official documents, and that renders them all void.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And
Dean,
one last note.
One
more
last
note.
Go ahead, bud.
Lisa Cook is going to be fired.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to be
done.
fired. So
It's been a heck of a week, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Cracker Barrel,
Watching.
Lisa Cook, got a rest coming. Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift engaged. My gosh, the world's on fire, isn't it, Dean?
yeah, it is. And I try to say this. I say it very humbly. Rod and I are both very humble people, so we don't want to say it out of arrogance. But look back at the last 11 episodes and what we've talked about,
Yes.
and what you found is truth. And we've called out the woke garbage BS against Trump, and we've been right every time.
Yes.
You can't call it, we may be wrong on whether it takes 2 weeks or 2 months, but we've been accurate. And the Freedom Chamber is a place you get accurate information that you can trust. You can't trust anything coming out of the left. So don't even pay attention to it. Don't even let that stuff come into your head. It's toxic poison. So listen to the Freedom Chamber. There's a lot of other good conservative groups, just TV, lots of places you can get honest information that's accurate. And we need an honest information, but you can't get it off NBC.
Absolutely. And speaking of emotion, Chicago, the National Guard, could be knocking on the doorsteps here in the next couple of days. As a business owner, if I lived in Chicago, I would welcome that with open arms, because I live 40 miles just west of Chicago. I haven't been downtown in years because of that. I used to work right off of Michigan Avenue and the river. Beautiful place to work. And then COVID hit and everything went to hell in a handbasket. Crime everywhere, homelessness everywhere, drugs, gangs, these teenage riots, what the mayor likes to call them. They're just kids out having fun. Something's got to give. And I believe President Trump is doing the correct thing by sending the National Guard potentially into Chicago. If I'm a business owner, I'm like, bring it on. Here's where you need to go.
Well, even more than a business owner, if I were a single black mom on
Yes.
the south side of Chicago,
Yes.
I'm looking at Washington, D.C. having 0 murders for 13 straight days now because of what the president's done. I would be begging the National Guard to deploy. I would be begging for Trump to do whatever he is doing there. And of course, he has more limited legal powers in Chicago than he does in D.C., but I think we're going to watch him exercise them, and I think he's going to humiliate the Democrats who run all these major cities.
Well, and the president posted last night on Truth Social that he knows whenever they start the arrest of some of the deep state, that George Soros and that organization is funding massive riots like we had earlier a couple of years ago, and having the National Guard in place will stop that. In the past, they were allowed to just riot, kill, plunder, everything else. This president will not allow that. And so there may be something more in play stopping crime is important and it's worth it, and it's very much justified. But there may be a much bigger play here.
Well, and he's learned two very important lessons during his time in office in that direction. The first being 2020, when they burned down our cities all summer. And he didn't do some of the things that we would expect Donald Trump to do. It was in the middle of COVID. Everything in the world is coming apart, and his team is not with him. Then we have these riots in Los Angeles now in the second term. Trump sends in the National Guard, has that quelled in days. He's learned both of those lessons. And if they really want to unleash hell over the next few months to defend a bunch of corrupt deep staters, they're going to get it back in their face.
Well, one of the problems that we have in this world, too, is social media as we're running up against a break. And we're going to learn about a new social media app that you can get your family involved with, build a tribe, a community of like-minded people, and find that good spot in the world. It's called Tuvu. We're going to bring in the business development director, David Moore, in our next segment. You're inside the Business Pulse.
Hey, the Freedom Chamber is amazing. I'm so glad that we get to be here on the Freedom Chamber's Business Pulse. This is an organization you should support. It's an organization of which you should be a member. The Freedom Chamber is getting important things done in this country. And honestly, we need spaces for people who believe the sorts of things that if you're watching this, you probably do. We have gone through this extended period of not just canceling individuals, but just boycotting businesses and doing terrible things, debanking. Nigel Farage, who is likely to be the next prime minister of the United Kingdom, was actually debanked by all the major banks in the United Kingdom. And of course that happens here, and we get de-insured and all these terrible things. The Freedom Chamber is fighting for you. The Freedom Chamber is here to make sure that you're protected, that your values matter, they count, and they're in the public square. So I encourage everybody to join the Freedom Chamber.
America, welcome back into the Business Pulse, brought to you by the Freedom Chamber, online at freedomchamber.net. It is the pro-American business network, and one of the businesses you can find inside of it is Tuvu, and we've got David Moore on with us. David, how are you, bud?
Doing awesome. How you guys doing?
Fantastic. It's been a while since you and I have had a conversation like this on the television, on the big tube. You're on the app. Find them in the Play Store and the Google, the App Store, also the Apple App Store,
Correct.
Also online at tuvu.com. How are things going? How's it progressed? Tell the audience how things are going at Tuvu.
Oh, things are, the timing, God's timing is just everything. I just came out of a board meeting. That's why I was a couple minutes late logging in. We have some very exciting partnerships. We have some new products within Tuvu, a enterprise product called Communities within Tuvu. So imagine Tuvu, the greater Christian community app. And within the app, there are churches, organizations, businesses that have all created a community within there. You're able to do events. You're able to have libraries for content. You're able to have analytics as an admin to see what's happening each day. How are people engaging? And you're able to look at engagement metrics. So that is all coming to market, and we're excited about the offering that we have for the marketplace, but specifically the kingdom, those Christians, wherever you're from, whatever denomination you may be from, people are connecting effectively within Tuvu, and it's been wonderful to see the growth. It's been wonderful to just be a part of something that's so much bigger than myself. So that's always a blessing.
Go ahead and give us the 10,000-foot view of exactly what Tuvu is, just so everybody's up to speed, because then I want to dive into building that tribe within a tribe inside communities. Go ahead, David.
Right. Tuvu is a Christian community app. Like-minded believers, it is subscription-based. So some may say, oh, all the other ones are free. Well, not exactly, because they're selling your data. They are manipulating the algorithm to make you just a consumer. And we all know the negative impacts and the toxicity that can happen from social media. But we have created a platform and a model that is subscription based. So we don't sell data. We don't do ads. So businesses could open up their own profile and do ads within their profile, but we don't sell ad space within there. You only see the feed that you see is those that you follow on Tuvu. So it's very relationally based. We have a lot of people on there connecting, sharing their stories, sharing testimonies, prayer requests, and praise reports. So it's really a powerful place to gather in a digital sense. I think after COVID, everybody was plagued with isolation. And on other platforms, you can have such an abundance of content, but you have a scarcity of community. So we are creating a community, and also you can find good and wholesome Christian content on Tuvu.
Well, I'm just so impressed with your progress. How long has this existed, and how's the business side of it going?
The business side is scaling. We really have some exciting partnerships with some major Christian influencers, which I can't share as of today, but they are in the
But no
works.
breaking news, David? Come on, give us some breaking news inside the Business Pulse.
You know what?
Unleash
Next
the
episode.
fury. Let's go. Come on.
Next episode. Yeah. I'll leak some names in the next episode, but we're very excited about that because it's really touching the hearts of people. You know, it is a business model, but the heart of it is ministry. And ministry is what? It's people. It's what are you doing to impact people? How are you treating people? And I think there's a lot of people today that are really exhausted with how other social media platforms have shaped their children, shaped their families. So this is a healthy alternative for people to roll up their sleeves, jump in and engage and connect with others and create something that's entirely new, something that honors God, something that honors our country, something that honors free speech. We're not going to censor people for sharing their testimony or suppress them or shadow ban them for being believers. This is a place for believers to flourish, encourage one another, and build each other up. So we're just excited over here. It started in 2021 and we built the tech and really have gone to market in the past year and a half. We've really put the money now into some marketing efforts and partnerships, and we are poised and ready for critical mass.
Outstanding.
Yeah, and this is one of those things that's just so important. And we've talked before about, if our local or if our regional, national news and social media and everything else was a liquid, you would run away from it as far as you can, as fast as you could. You would never put it in your body because it would be toxic poison.
Yep.
Well, these visuals and these conversations, those are still just toxic poison, but you're putting them in your mind. So where we get our news from, where we get our content from, where we interact with has a significant impact. And we look at what happened in Minneapolis, just with the shooting at the school, and
Wow.
there's no doubt that there's some social media influence in there, and there's someone terribly confused, and who you associate with is will define you, and the media you take in will define you.
It's true.
So why not seek out positive, just like TV, something that's going to reaffirm faith, and just stay away from the evil ones. Stay away from the darkness.
It's true. I mean, we know that phrase, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Well, it's almost like show me the apps that are on your phone and I'll show you where your thoughts and your future is going to be. So we have created a new platform that is wholesome, that is family centric, that is heavily moderated. I mean, AI is a big conversation and we are using it to help moderate content. So if there's anything that's off or inappropriate, it doesn't even get on the platform. So it's very a vigilant space to keep your eye gate and your ear gate protected, which is more important than ever, I think, in these days.
David,
Yeah.
as we wrap up the last segment here, where
Yeah.
can people get in touch with you if they want to potentially invest, become a partner in the tribe that is Tuvu? Where can they personally get in touch with you? Because that's why we built the Freedom Chamber, to
I love
connect
it.
people.
Yes. Email me, david.moore, Moore, @tuvu.com. And I would love to jump on a call, would love to connect with anybody that's interested in what we're doing at Tuvu and see how we could partner up, team up, or just maybe you're just curious, you want to learn more. I'm happy to always jump on a call with anyone that wants to, connect.
Excellent. So david.moore at tuvu.com. That's TUVU.com. You can download the app in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. You can find it online as well at tuvu.com. Dean Owen, where can people find you at, bud?
OwenCPA.com. You can jump on and send us a note, connect with us, get us an email, you get into our circle, and we'll make sure and get you on the newsletter. And it's all free. The friendship and the conversation is always free. And to try to see what we can do to help everyone we can.
Last but definitely not least, the Martin Report. Where can people sign up for it, Rod?
Come to rodmartin.org. We have tens of thousands of subscribers there. We have another 275,000 followers on X. You can connect to our X from the top left-hand corner of rodmartin.org, which you should check out. We clearly have a lot going on.
Love it. And once again, it's Tuvu, TUVU.com. Find David online at david.moore at tuvu.com. Get your subscription. What's it, $4.99 a year, David? Am I right? $4.99 a year?
Yeah, you can get
Or a month?
$4.99 a month, and you get a discount by about 20% if you do a yearly subscription, which half of our subscriptions are yearly, which is a wonderful vote of confidence that people have invested an entire year into what we're doing here. We're building community and a new community.
Fantastic. I appreciate your guys' time. Join us online like David Moore did with Tuvu at the Freedom Chamber, freedomchamber.net. This has been the Business Pulse. Thanks for being a part of it, America.
My name is Dean Owen. I'm a CPA. I have a master's degree in taxation and a personal financial specialist. Tax laws are always changing. That's why you need a tax strategist, not just a tax preparer. You need someone to help you pay the least amount of tax legally, because if your business and retirement tax planning is not tax smart, it's probably tax dumb. Let's fix that today. Call me. Let's disinherit the government and not your kids. That's what my team and I do. This is who we are. I'm a combat veteran, unapologetically American, unapologetically pro-God, pro-life, and pro-Second Amendment. If those are the values you seek in a tax and money advisor, call us. Again, let's disinherit the government and not your kids. We're not afraid to share our values, and we share them with you.